Good morning, Husker fans, and it is game day. We have been waiting for this for what seems like forever, but tonight in Kansas City, the Nebraska Cornhuskers will take on the Cincinnati Bearcats, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. It's going to be on ESPN if you're not going to be there in person. And we are here on the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're going to hang out here for about 30, 40 minutes, talk about the game, talk about Nebraska football, and just kind of set the tone for the day as the Huskers will be back on the field tonight. So it's going to be super exciting. Danny, how are you on this Thursday morning on Kickoff Thursday?
Exciting and excited are appropriate words for today. I am excited. I'm ready to go. It's finally here. Football is finally here, and it seems like there's a lot of anticipation coming into this season. And we've done all the previews, all the predictions, all the projections, all the recruiting, transfer portal, signing day. Now it's time to play the games, and I can't wait.
And if you're a big-time hardcore Nebraska football fan, and if you haven't already, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, hit the like button, get into the comment section. Even if you're watching on the replay, let us know what you think about tonight with your predictions. And yeah, I'm really excited about this matchup. I do think we talked about this yesterday on our keys and our preview that this is going to be an interesting test for the Huskers. Maybe not. I know a lot of Nebraska fans are very confident. I mean, I'm confident in a win too, but I do think after just kind of more diving into the Cincinnati team, I am a little worried about, just Nebraska getting a win tonight because it's not going to be easy. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think Nebraska's going to have to make some plays in the fourth quarter. Dylan Raiola is going to have a big game, and they're going to have to deal with Brennan Sorsby, a pretty talented quarterback on the other side of the field.
Yeah, and Sorsby can do it all, right? He can run, he can pass. We talked about yesterday his ability to run with the ball and the fact that he has, some talented receivers too to throw to. And he's going to be a guy that I'm watching. And, Nebraska's got to make sure that they can get to him and get home for sacks and things like that, or else it's going to be a long night for the defense.
It was cool if anybody didn't see it. I'm sure some of you did if you're following Nebraska football on social media. They had some pictures of the Huskers in Arrowhead Stadium. Looked like some local media people had, kind of reported that Andy Reid may have talked to the Huskers, when they were kind of doing their walkthrough session. So it was kind of cool to, see some of that stuff. And it does take me back because they did used to play some games in Arrowhead. I remember them playing Oklahoma State there. So I do like it. I think it's going to be a nice home field advantage. I like the fact that, I don't like that the game is so late, but I do like the fact that they're on ESPN, and this will be a great chance, I think, to hopefully showcase, what we all, believe is going to be kind of a new era, or the ushering in of a new era of Nebraska football, an era of winning, an era of no more not no more heartbreaking losses, but not the heartbreaking defeats that we've kind of experienced for the last decade or so.
I wouldn't even necessarily say a new era, just a culmination of everything that they've been building towards. And we've heard about the Matt Rule third-year leaps, right? Temple, Baylor, and now it's time for Nebraska to take that third-year leap. And I think I remember when Scott Frost was fired, and we said whoever comes in here is going to have a lot of work to do. I mean, everything's bare, recruiting's not great. They're going to have a challenge ahead of them. And Matt Rule has rebuilt this program with depth and quality players, and now this is the year that everything, historically speaking, has come to fruition for him in each of his stops. So maybe not a new era, just a reaffirmation of his building efforts.
Either way, I'm just excited that we're actually going to get to watch football tonight. No more having to look for, fall scrimmage intel and 10-15-second practice clips of guys throwing the ball against air, or a few plays here or there released by the Nebraska football, account on Twitter, or Facebook, or whatever. So I'm glad we're actually going to see some football and really learn about this team. There's only so much you can learn in fall camp. Even the coaches said, even Dana Holgerson kind of hinted at that. It's like, you don't really know. You think you have an idea, but you don't really know what you have until you get out there and play a game. And so it could be better, it could be worse, it could be about what we expect. But I'm just excited that we'll have some tangible results that we can look at tonight to see where this team is really at, I guess so early in the 2025 season.
I agree. So what position groups are you excited to watch tonight? Not even the ones that you're watching for production. What position groups are you excited to see on the field?
Wide receiver, I think, to me. I just, this wide receiver group, we've talked about it. Super exciting. Dane Keene, Isaiah Hunter, Cortez Mills, Ja'Cory Barney. It goes beyond that, but those four guys, I think they're going to get the majority of the targets. So I'm super excited to see, Dane Key in a Nebraska uniform to see what he can do. And I have a feeling tonight that we're going to see Ja'Cory Barney come up with like a plus 40-yard reception. And wouldn't surprise me if Dane Key got one of those too, but I think we're going to see at least one deep ball completion. And I just feel like Ja'Cory Barney is going to make a big play tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And, we talked about how he seemed to perform better. Well, not seemed, he did perform better out wide towards the end of the season once Holgorsen took over. And I'm excited to see that for hopefully a full season. Instead of just trying to make something out of the last couple of games, we're now going to be able to see him, be that true receiver he was instead of just the end around guy.
So what about you? What positions are you most excited about?
Running backs. I mean, I think there's a lot of optimism to be had with the running backs. Emmett Johnson, obviously, but the guys behind him, Nelson, Mosey, I'm excited to see what those two can bring to the table because a lot of people are concerned about running back depth. And good to see you again. And I think, you don't know what you have for running back depth until they're on the field. So I'm excited to see what contributions they make as well.
Sorry about that. I was trying to mute myself there, so I was so you didn't hear me drinking my coffee and took myself off the stage. So there you go. It's first game for everybody. First, there's going to be that. That was my false start. Nebraska. I'll give them one false start. I'll give them leniency on one false start, and beyond that, then I'll get mad. No, I'm just kidding. But I am determined. Whatever happens tonight, not to overreact and not to jump off the deep end if they lose this game. Because I don't think it's going to mean the end for their season or anything like that. Even though that's going to be the talk, though, right? Like that's just how football is. It's this week to week sport, and that's just when you lose a game and you don't play again. And the thing is that makes it harder for Nebraska is like, okay, you don't really have a chance for redemption for 2 more weeks, right? Because nobody really cares if you beat Houston Christian and Akron. They only care if you lose to those teams. So you can't really get rid of that feeling until the Michigan game. That's the first chance to do it. So that's why this is a really important win. Because if you lose this one, then it feels like to me that Michigan game is a must-win one. Not that it isn't already, just if you want to make noise in the Big Ten Conference. But if you lose Cincinnati and Michigan, I feel like that's going to be a hard message for your team to, just to keep selling like, hey, we are one of these elite teams. Like at some point you need to have that evidence. And I think they need that evidence in terms of a win tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And, you look at this Nebraska team and lately they've kind of struggled in season openers. They obviously won against UTEP last year. And, they seem to not be terrible at season openers, but season openers haven't been their strong suit as of late. We seem to have plenty of week zero memories that are not so good. So I think starting off on a win against what I think is a decent Cincinnati team would be a nice start to the season.
Yeah, James. Thanks for the comment from YouTube. Thanks for always being one of our loyal watchers, James. The first touchdown will be scored by a wide receiver, and I thought that's kind of an interesting question. Who do you think the first touchdown will be scored by, Danny?
That's a good question. I'm still going to go Emmett Johnson, although I would love to see the first touchdown scored by a wide receiver.
I'm gonna go Dane Key. I think we're gonna see like one of those, maybe toe tapping touchdowns, one of those kind of jump ball type. I think Emmett Johnson will definitely help him get down there, but maybe first touchdown of the year is like a red zone touchdown to Dane Key. That would be pretty sweet. I'd love to see that. But yeah, Emmett Johnson probably would be a very good bet too. I don't know if he's gonna rush for 100 yards tonight, but I think he's gonna get over 100 total yards tonight.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So Mark Martinez, thanks for the comment from YouTube. It's game day, baby. Let's go Big Red. Exactly. That's exactly. I woke up about 3:00 today, Montana time. That's, so I'm a little ahead of wherever you're at. Maybe you're behind. I don't know. I can't say where you're at actually, Mark, but I woke up at 3:00 in the morning and was like, game day I was like 16 hours till kickoff. That's what I got the clock in my head. So we're, 13 hours and 20 minutes, but who's counting, right?
Yeah, right. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a fun day. And also the start officially of the rest of the college football slate as well. So some great games this weekend for after a Nebraska victory.
Yeah, and I think our guy or not, no, yeah, does Scott Frost what starts Saturday? I was thinking maybe tonight, but I got that confused with somebody else. But yeah, Boise State's playing UCF tonight, so that'll kind of an interesting matchup. I don't know if that's the only other ranked team to play tonight, but yeah, a lot of interesting matchups, like you said, LSU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas, Clemson, LSU. So yeah, lots of interesting matchups, and I think that that's a good thing for college football. We need games that matter. We need to see, fans don't want to watch LSU and hunky dory state or whoever. Like those games just aren't fun to watch. I know that people
Yeah.
pay for them or whatever, and it's still, I'll still watch them. I will watch every game Nebraska plays, but it's just games like this are more exciting because that it's that lot. It's like when you're playing a video game. I know everybody won't get this reference, but it's like the difference between playing NCAA football 26 on like not what's the level before All American, like freshman, as opposed to playing it
Varsity.
on varsity, as opposed to varsity compared to Heisman. Like there's a real chance in Heisman you're going to lose, whereas varsity you can just kind of mess around, doesn't really matter because it's just not really a challenge, and that's what it's like to play a team like Akron or Houston Christian. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Nebraska would have to like categorically fail in almost every single way for the game to even be close. So it's like it's just not really, like we're judging it mostly like, oh, if they win by 21 points, we're mad because we expect them to win a game by 50. So it's like, is a game that you expect to win by 50 really that exciting to watch? I mean, on like on a level of being like having some drama to it, So I don't know.
I don't know. I love every game. I don't
I mean,
care.
I do too, but I'm saying it just would be. I like seeing these games though. These games make it fun.
I don't care if it's Bozo the Clown State or Snoopy University. I'm up and ready for every game. I'm excited. I really am excited. I think this off season's felt long, but it's been productive. So
It has been a productive offseason. I feel like offseason, there's Nebraska fans always have that joke, offseason champions.
oh
And
yeah.
I do feel like they did have a good offseason, but everybody feels like that. Every team feels like they had a really good offseason. So we just have to see how everything plays out. But I do like that a lot of the Nebraska's best players, Emmett Johnson, Dylan Raiola, Justin Evans, some of those guys are holdover players. There are obviously transfers, Key, Hunter, McCullough that are going to have to make a big impact, Andrew Marshall, but there's a good chunk of guys that are back from last season. And I think that is a really big deal. I think that cohesion and that experience and all that really does matter, especially in this era of college football where you have tons of new rosters. I mean, what did we say? Cincinnati has 39 new players. Nebraska's probably not that far off, but there's still a lot of continuity on this roster, which I think is a good thing.
I agree. And it's a good mix of the past and the future. And I think when you look at how young the offense is, for example, it's good to have, a veteran, even though he wasn't here obviously last year, but like a Dane Key or, even Isaiah Hunter, even though he's younger, he's still one of the more older players in the wide receiver room. So I think it's a good mix on both sides of football for the program.
Thanks again to everybody that's watching along on YouTube or Facebook. If you have a comment or question, throw it in the chat. That's what we're here for. We got another 15, 20 minutes or so that we will hang out. It's also the first day of school for my son here in Montana. So got to cut it a little short to help him get ready, get on the bus, yada, yada. And then once he gets off school, man, the countdown will be kicked in even further for Nebraska tonight. So yeah, can't wait.
You're just looking for ways to pass the time, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wish I don't know. I was gonna say I wish it was a Saturday game, but in some ways,
No.
I guess it'll be kind of nice because it can hang back and watch some of the big games on Saturday and get this one out of the way.
I wanted the season to start, Monday, so I'm happy it's not a Saturday game, and I am excited to see the other games on the slate as well. So
Yeah, that Ohio State Texas game I think will be pretty revealing. I think all three of those marquee matchups will because I mean there's a lot of people. Clemson's been gaining a lot of momentum in the preseason predictions lately. I've seen a lot of It seems like a lot of people are really in on Clemson and Penn State this
Yeah.
year, and I understand it. I do think that they're both very good teams, but I have my doubts about whether either of them is good enough. Or in the case of, I don't doubt that Penn State has the talent, but I do doubt their head coach and their quarterback, at least at the level of winning a national championship.
Well, I think Clemson has a good defense, and then Ohio State Penn State, excuse me, has a good running back room. Ohio State does too, but this is a big year for both. They have very talented rosters that I believe are capable of winning the championship, and if they don't, at least in Happy Valley, things will get a little dicey. I don't know about over in Clemson, but either way, this is a big year for both teams.
Yeah, Clemson Dabo's probably safe there, but yeah, James Franklin, it's kind of put up or shut up time for him. He's stole away Ohio State's defensive coordinator days after they won the national championship. So yeah, no excuses for Penn State. And I guess for Nebraska, you could say, some of the same things. I think on a different level. Nebraska has no excuses not to get to like 8 or 9 wins, not win a national championship or a Big Ten championship or anything like that. But there is no excuse, in my opinion, for this team not to take a step forward, not to win more games than they did last year. Everybody believes that this team's going to trend up. I picked them to win 10 games. I picked them 10-2. I think they may sneak into the playoffs just at the very end. I think if they go 10-2, I think they'll probably be in that Indiana position, that 10-11 seed, which is kind of where Josh Pate had them and some others. But I think the bare minimum for Matt Rule this year to, avoid the pitchfork mentality from the fan base is 8 wins. I think 8 wins, maybe 8 wins and a win over Iowa would still have people feeling really good about the direction of this program.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I think it would make the program more attractive to recruits as well. And when you look at, what you would sell to recruits, you could sell the new building. You could sell that you have an up-and-coming program who had a fantastic third season under this coaching staff. And, mostly under Matt Rule. This coaching staff has undergone some changes, but you finally have something to sell to some of the top recruits in the nation. I mean, look what they've been able to do without having, necessarily, super seasons. They've still been able to recruit really well. So a good season this year would even elevate that more.
Yeah, and definitely in the mix for, more top 100 recruits. Ahmad Hudson, the 5-star tight end, really interested in Nebraska. So I think if they can, 1st. Yeah, I think if they can put together some wins and have some strong performances with some of these game day visits, I do think there's a chance to kind of blow the roof off with that 2027 class and get like a top 10, top 12 class. And you pair that with 2024, with 2025 and 2024. And I think that's where you start to see the foundation of a team that can compete, I think for Big Ten championships. Not saying that they're going to win one, but I think just being in that conversation. So, which would be a great change because this program hasn't even competed for a conference championship. And I'm just saying, like, being in the mix, not even like making the Big Ten championship game. Like, I can't even remember the last time they were, like when going into the last week of the season, like they had a chance to win the division. Like it's been forever. I mean, I don't think that was the case even when Mike Riley was the coach, because they had some really tough losses with Wisconsin. So, I mean, it's been forever since Nebraska's been in any sort of championship hunt. So it would be very refreshing to be able to experience that again.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be fun as writers too to actually write about something and write about a team that is in the championship and conference championship hunt.
Yeah, it would be. We yesterday we went over our keys and predictions for this matchup. We kind of got pretty in depth, more information on Cincinnati, our final predictions for this game. We kind of broke down some keys. So if you're looking for even more information, more of a breakdown for the Bearcats, definitely check out that video. I did want to ask what is one thing that is concerning you about this game? Now that we're the day of the game, maybe it's something we kind of covered before, but is there anything that's just kind of a lingering concern for you, 12 hours from kickoff, 13 hours from kickoff?
Difficulties stopping Brandon Sorsby on the ground. We've always had difficulties running quarterbacks, and until I see improvement there, that's still gonna be a question mark of mine.
Yeah, that playing into that a little bit is the third down defense, because that's when I feel like those quarterbacks are really dangerous. Is A guy like that can, break out of the pocket or can buy a little bit of time to get somebody a completion or just run for a first down. So keeping him in check, Brandon Sorsby, but also winning on third down. I think that's going to be essential for this game. I do think that Cincinnati is going to move the ball, but if Nebraska can get a turnover or two, be productive on third down, and win in the red zone, I think they'll do enough to win the game.
Yeah.
Thanks again for the comment, James. Playing on a grass field will be interesting for both teams since Nebraska is going to a grass field next season. So yeah, it'll be. Are they going to a full grass field next season? Nebraska.
I believe it is full. Yeah.
Okay, that'll be interesting. I actually will like that. I prefer grass to the field. If I see the benefits of it both ways, it will be nice, I guess, that it probably, I was going to say there's been preseason games there, but I think the field will be in good shape since there hasn't been like a regular season game there yet. But yes, it will be interesting. Both teams play on field turf. I think that's most college football teams use field turf right now. But there is kind of a movement away from it, player safety and yada yada. It's interesting with like the World Cup, which is going to be here this summer. The stadiums that have like field turf, they have to actually remove field turf and install natural grass in order to host a World Cup match, because FIFA will not play matches on field turf due to player safety. So there are some real concerns about it. I think we're going to see a move more towards natural grass, which I think football should be played on grass. That's just me.
Yeah, and I see the benefits of both, but I think one of the big things about not having field turf is limiting player injuries, but it seems like, honestly, Nebraska gets injured no matter what the surface is, unfortunately. So I don't know. We'll have to see if that rings true for Nebraska in next season.
It will be interesting. I can never remember Memorial Stadium not having turf. So yeah, it's got to have been since like the 40s or something, since they had like natural grass. It'll be really interesting, definitely a different look. But yeah, it'll be. It's definitely the overhead pictures and stuff, or it's going to be a whole different, kind of color scheme with the grass and everything. So I think it will be kind of a beautiful sight. Hopefully, it will help with player safety too. There's. I think looking at this team, the Cincinnati team, a couple other things that do, worry me. We talked about the tight end Joe Royer, 6'5", 250. Caldwell, the receiver, who's 6'5". That size worries me a little bit, especially on the perimeter. But I do think the Nebraska's got some pretty good defensive backs, and Donovan Jones is a guy that's 6'1", that can kind of come in and be a bigger man-to-man corner if they run into some issues on the perimeter.
Yeah, and then you have Corleone, the defensive tackle, Cincinnati's defensive tackle or linebacker. I think defensive tackle.
Yeah, D tackle. Yeah.
So he's a guy, that could potentially be an NFL draft pick. So he worries me a little bit. He's going to test the offensive line. And so Cincinnati's got some players. They really do. And it's going to be interesting to see how Nebraska counters.
So who do you think, I was going to ask this earlier, who do you think the starting tackles will be tonight for Nebraska on offense?
Prohaska and Katula.
I'm going to say Prohaska and Turner Corcoran just to mess with you. Just to give just to give you like an aneurysm as they waltz out there for the first, because Turner Corcoran is the either or with Gunnar Katula. But no, I think you're right. I think it's going to be Katula, and I think it's going to be Prohaska. I do think that
we'll see Katula soon either way, if that's the case.
I do think we'll see some of the other guys at some point tonight. I don't know if Tyler Knack's going to get off the bench or Corcoran, but maybe. It wouldn't surprise me though to see Elijah Pritchett rotate in for a series or two, because I think that Matt Rule has been trying to light a fire under him a little bit, and listing him third on the depth chart, I just thought, like, to me that felt like him trying to send a message a little bit. I know he did in the media and even on his podcast, and I think the message the entire time was, hey, you have the ability to play, but you're not quite meeting the standard. And I feel like it's going to be a little bit like the Micah Mazuka situation, where he was suspended or whatever, but he still kind of found his way onto the field. I mean, I can't remember the entire situation. And Pritchett's not in that suspended or anything like that, but I feel like
Slow
maybe,
start.
yeah, like maybe he's in the doghouse like a little bit. Not that Matt Rule's mad at him or anything like that, but just I think they want more out of him.
Right.
And so I'll be interested to see if he gets on the field tonight. My suspicion is that he will, at least for a series or two.
Yeah. And Nebraska finally has depth at those positions and depth overall on the offensive line. So that's certainly a welcome change too.
I did think it was interesting. Dana Holgerson yesterday saying we're going to run the damn ball. He said he was out of the air raid club. I don't know if you saw these comments. I can't remember who he said them to. So local media members. So I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I usually try to give credit to who it was. But I thought that was interesting. And you think about Justin Evans, Henry Luftowski, Rocco Spindler. I think Nebraska is going to run the football tonight, and I think they're going to run it successfully. And I do think they're going to run the ball more this year than people are expecting them to, with Holgerson as the OC.
And it's also the first game, so you don't want to give away all your passing secrets early.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see, Mosley and Nelson, get some opportunities to see what they can do. Thanks for the comment on Facebook. Says from Marissa, good luck. I'm assuming that's for the Huskers. Yeah. So hopefully they find a way to get a win tonight. And it would be nice to have luck on our side for once. It doesn't seem like luck's been on our side for a long time. So I'll take luck. Good luck. Anything that we can do to help the Huskers win, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think Nebraska will be able to win comfortably by the end.
Yeah, so everybody, if you're still following along with the chat, go ahead and throw your final predictions in. We can kind of read off some of those here in our last few minutes. Danny, we can go over our predictions again. I don't know if anything's changed with you, but my prediction's been pretty consistent on this matchup. I've been about 28-20. I moved it to 31-20. I just feel like Cincinnati is going to get 20 points, but I think Nebraska is going to be clean on special teams. I think they'll make their field goal. No bad snaps. I think we will, have a nice return, either a nice punt or a kick return. I think Mike Eckler is going to, after this game, I think we're going to be talking about, oh man, Mike Eckler's really made a difference with this special teams unit. I think Raiola might throw for 300 yards tonight, and I think Nebraska wins 31-20, but I think it's a close game. I think it's like one score at halftime, like 14-10 or something like that, 14-7. I think it's like a 1-2, one score game throughout most of it. I think Nebraska will be playing with the lead, but always Cincinnati's always there, within 10, 14 points to keep us on our toes.
What did I say? 30-17 or something like that yesterday? I don't remember.
I think was it 30? Yeah, 30-17 or maybe 30. Yeah, I can't quite remember. Something like that.
That's the one. That's the score I'm going with. 30-17 for tonight. Cincinnati will definitely hang around, but I think we're gonna wear them out with our depth, and we'll be able to put it away by the fourth quarter.
All right, James has 33-20,
okay.
pretty similar to mine. Steven, thanks for the comment from YouTube. 41-17, Nebraska wins. That would be sweet. I would love that. I would love to see him put up a nice 40 burger to start the season. Sibs, I'm going 31-24. I could see that. I
don't like how close it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely could see that though. I mean, I have it 31-20, so I mean that's only like one more. Yeah, for me, it's just like in Cincinnati getting a one more red zone touchdown or something. So definitely could see that happening. But one common theme, we all have Nebraska scoring over 30 points. Both of us, all three of you guys. Cincinnati did allow 30 points or more 6 times last year, also 6 times in 2023. So their defense has not been great, and their pass rush, they do have the Corleone guy, but their other good pass rushers all graduated. So
I think really schedule last year though too.
They did, yeah, and the Big 12 is obviously there's some really good offenses in that league. So not to overlook them at all. They added a nice cornerback from the Sun Belt, so they've done some nice work. And Scott Satterfield's coaching for his job, so time of possession will be critical. Yeah, it will be. I think that is an underrated stat sometimes in football games. But yeah, just it is nice to keep the ball away from the other team if you can, and if they can establish the running game. And usually the team that has the ball more wins the game because you're trying to play keep away at the end with the lead. So I do agree with that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And keeping the chains moving forward and not too many negative plays will be important too.
Yeah, the turnover battle will be interesting. Both of these teams, not great at taking the ball away. Cincinnati averaged 1.2 takeaways per game last year. Nebraska was at 1.3. So that'll be kind of an interesting thing to watch. Cincinnati was really good at forcing fumbles, though. So taking care of the ball, not putting on the ground, like it's those kind of plays are the backbreakers. When you like get into the red zone and you fumble, or you have a great drive and you like things like that are hard to overcome. So hopefully we don't have those mistakes tonight and make things easier for our opponent. But yeah, good point from Co. Getting out of there injury free will be critical. Yeah, it's injuries are the worst. So we've Nebraska's definitely been hit with the injury bug over the past few years. So hopefully can avoid anybody getting hurt and then get through the next two games and then be full bore for Michigan. Because man, if they win this game, I feel like they're gonna have a lot of confidence. They probably will end up maybe being ranked by the time Michigan comes to Lincoln, and depending on how that game goes in Norman between them and the Sooners, we could have a ranked matchup mid late September.
Go Sooners. I mean, I kind of want the Sooners to win just because I don't think Michigan's there yet, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I really don't know. We don't know how good Bryce Underwood's going to be. I think their defense is going to be. I think they have the best defense in the Big Ten, though. I really do. So their offensive line kind of struggled last year. Like that's the thing is Michigan was known for their running game, but even the year they won the national championship, like everyone talks about, they have this amazing running game. They only average like 160 yards rushing, and last year they only averaged 157. So their offensive line is going to be critical, and I think Justice Haynes may have a bigger impact on the outcome of this season than Bryce Underwood, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So we'll see. That's the matchup where I was going to look at any. We were talking about the D line, and that was one of my concerns. If there's one where I'm worried about, that's the game, because if there's one team on the schedule, like if Michigan can run the ball at you 40 times in a row, they'll do it. They don't care. Like they'll throw the ball 3 times in a game and win. And that kind of scares me a little bit about this Nebraska game. But I think the defensive line will hold up, and this will be a great test tonight against a really good, underrated, I think, rushing attack of Cincinnati.
I agree, and their running backs are really good. They have multiple good running backs. So, and the run defense is something that they struggled with last year. So I think this will be a good chance to prove everybody wrong on that front.
Yeah, 2 years ago they allowed 3 yards per carry. Last year it was 3.3. So they took a little bit of a step back last year. I think if they could, yeah, if they could keep it, yeah, and that's sometimes they like Colorado probably have like negative rushing yards. So I mean, you look at some of those games, they gave up a lot of yards. So if they could keep that number in the low 3s, I think that'd be a huge win for this defense this season. So
this will be a good chance to see what Terry Braden has been doing this offseason.
Yeah, the D line has a lot of talent, a lot of question marks, though. I mean, Keanu Davis is going to be a first-time starter. Elijah Judy is basically a first-time starter. Is it when he's playing is also kind of shifting around too. But did he get a black shirt? No, he didn't, right?
No.
So it was okay. So Cameron Leonard, so he'll be starting. Yeah, and it is interesting that you've got Van Poppel, you've got, like we said, Nowhere, you've got Jalen George. You've got a lot of guys that can move around and do different things on the defensive line. So I think they've got enough. I think they've got enough depth there, but we just don't know until we play the games. And obviously, you get through the season, you have the war of attrition, all that. But I think they've got some good D-line depth. And yeah, before we go, one thing I did want to say, the one guy that scares me the most, though, outside of Sorsby, is Evan Pryor. He's the guy I feel like could be a game wrecker for Cincinnati against Nebraska tonight. 4 touchdowns last season of over 50 yards, 7.5 yards a carry. So if there's one guy that could, change this game in one play, and for Cincinnati at least, it's Evan Pryor. So that's the other guy Like they need to make sure that they get him to the ground.
Yeah, he's very quick. He finds the holes quickly. He's got a good burst at the second level of the defense, and yeah, Nebraska needs to make sure they wrap up on him quickly and fill in their gaps quick because he's going to make you pay.
And lots of change. Will be an ugly start for both sides. I mean, that's usually some week one jitters, but I feel like Nebraska offensively, I feel like they're going to score on their first drive of the game. That's just my prediction. I don't know if it's going to come field goal, touchdown, but I feel like this offense, you've got what I'm going to call a veteran quarterback now. You've got every single guy on the offensive line. If it is Gatula and Prahasha, they've all started double-digit games. Like they're all experienced players. Lindenmeyer, looking at the Nebraska offense, every single player has been a starter before. Not all of them here, not all of them at Nebraska, but every single one of them has been a starter. So I really think I'm going to be disappointed if the offense doesn't start fast tonight. I'll say that.
I'm predicting a little bit of a slow start, honestly, just as both teams kind of get adjusted. But if things aren't moving by the third quarter or even towards the end of the second quarter, then I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't think they're going to go crazy in the first half, but I think they'll score. Like I said, I think they'll score on their first possession and maybe get a couple scores. I think they will turn it on in the second half. I think there will be some of those things, but I think they'll start. I think there's a good chance they'll start fairly quickly. Just like I said, with a lot of this cohesion, there is new receivers, but also guys that have been here. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out. Who might be an X factor tonight is Carter Nelson. We'll see how much he actually plays and what his impact is. But I remember Matt Rule saying like he better be ready for that Cincinnati game. We haven't heard a ton about him since, so I'll be interested to see what his role is tonight if he has any.
Maybe they're keeping him hitting.
Maybe tonight will be the night that the world meets Carter Nelson. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
like a 6-catch 75-yard game with a touchdown or something. That would be cool because he could do it. He really could do it. Wouldn't shock me.
Easily, I think.
It's just sometimes it's just opportunity and timing. So hopefully he'll get the opportunity. But Lindenmeyer's a darn good player too, and he's a really tough blocker. So yeah, offensively, I mean, outside of I'm a little bit worried about offensive tackle. I like the depth. I wish that we could get Pritchett on the field. And I'm worried about Teddy staying healthy. But outside of that, I really don't have many concerns about the offense. So I think that's a pretty good place to be as the season starts.
But I think we'll see Pritchett on the field sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree. And then it's going to be interesting too if Gatula will stay, a swing tackle, if he'll push out Teddy, if there's an injury to Teddy, that'll, maybe it'll work itself out. The first drive for both teams will be interesting. Yeah, it's after an offseason to talk and trying to scout, and that's the thing too is there's a lot of new players on both sides of the ball, so it's kind of like you can do all this scouting and stuff, but both teams, I guarantee, are going to see things on tonight that they didn't expect to see on film or that they haven't seen on film, and that's just something you have to deal with in your first game.
Yeah, I agree, and it's going to be interesting to see what in-game adjustments are made once they find weaknesses or once they find things that work, and how each team is going to counter one another.
Yeah, and this is a good test for John Butler, I think. You're facing a veteran quarterback, a guy that's making over $1 million this year, which I think kind of reflects the talent. The only quarterback in the FBS last year that had a game with over 425 yards passing and over 125 yards rushing. So he is one of the more dynamic dual threat quarterbacks in all of college football. So going to be a really good test tonight for John Butler. I'm confident, but yeah, I think we're going to, either way, whatever happens tonight, win or lose, we're going to learn a lot about this Nebraska football team.
Yeah, I'm just excited to get going and excited to have football on my TV. Nebraska football on my TV. I had football on my TV last Saturday.
But yeah, this is the first game of consequence that I actually care about tonight. So it's going to be awesome. Hopefully it works out great. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us on the chat. I think we'll do one of these tomorrow morning, like a post-game chat. So if you want to come hopefully celebrate a win tomorrow morning, come join us again. Usually we'll be doing these like on Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, but our schedule's a little bit weird with the midweek game. So thanks again for everybody. Thanks to everybody who's watching on the replay. If you haven't already, do us a huge favor. And if you're a hardcore fan of the Huskers, hit subscribe, hit the like button, get into the comment section. And as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.